What if the very thing you've spent your entire life running from, your fear, your sadness, your pain, was never your enemy, but your mirror? From the moment we are born, the world teaches us to move away from discomfort. We are told to stay positive, to keep smiling, to look on the bright side. Entire industries thrive on this promise, that if we can just avoid what hurts, we'll finally be happy. But beneath the surface of this pursuit lies a quiet despair, a growing emptiness. The more we chase comfort, the further we drift from ourselves. We live in an age of distractions so complete that silence itself feels unbearable. We scroll through endless feeds, consume relentless noise, and drown in artificial happiness, all to escape a feeling we can't quite name. The fear of pain has become the guiding principle of modern life. But what if this avoidance isn't protecting us? What if it's the very thing that's destroying us? Carl Jung believed that every human being carries within them a shadow, the collection of repressed desires, fears, and traits we refuse to acknowledge. It's everything we've buried to appear acceptable, to fit in, to be loved. And yet, the shadow does not disappear. It lingers in our thoughts, leaks into our relationships, and shapes our choices in ways we barely understand. The more we deny it, the more power it gains. Our culture, obsessed with constant pleasure, has made war against the shadow. We celebrate positivity but shame pain. We glorify perfection but hide vulnerability. We treat emotional struggle as a defect to be cured rather than a truth to be understood. And so, we live divided, a smiling mask covering an ocean of quiet fear. But the irony is this: the shadow we suppress doesn't vanish. It festers. It emerges in anger we can't explain, in addictions we can't control, in the quiet loneliness that no amount of success can fill. We tell ourselves we are chasing happiness, yet in truth, we are only running from ourselves. Jung once wrote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." And he was right. We build our lives around distraction, yet wonder why we feel lost. We fear pain, yet it is pain that reveals who we are. Every unhealed wound, every suppressed emotion, is not a flaw to erase. It's a message waiting to be heard. Perhaps true freedom isn't found in the endless pursuit of happiness, but in the courage to stop running, to stand still, to turn toward the darkness we've spent a lifetime avoiding and finally ask it what it has to teach us. Because in the end, the shadow we refuse to face may be the only part of us that truly knows the way home. Pain, Jung believed, is not chaos. It's communication, a message from the parts of ourselves we've abandoned. To most people, pain feels like an interruption, a cruel detour from the life they wanted to live. But to Jung, it was the voice of the unconscious, calling us back to wholeness. Every anxiety, every heartbreak, every dark night of the soul is not a random tragedy, but a signpost pointing toward the parts of ourselves we've lost, denied, or forgotten. In his Map of the Psyche, Jung described three key forces shaping human experience: the persona, the shadow, and the process of individuation. The persona is the mask we wear for the world, the role we play to be accepted. It's how we learn to survive in a society that rewards conformity and punishes authenticity. But beneath the mask lies the shadow, the unwanted parts of the self we bury to maintain that illusion. Everything we suppress, our envy, our rage, our vulnerability, our fear, gathers there, waiting to be acknowledged. Pain arises when these hidden forces demand recognition, when the facade of who we think we are begins to crack under the weight of who we truly are. Think of heartbreak. Beneath the grief of losing someone often lies a deeper truth: the pain of confronting our dependency, our fear of being unlovable, our attachment to validation. Or consider failure. What we call disappointment is often the death of an image we built to impress the world. Pain exposes the gap between our persona and our truth. For Jung, this confrontation wasn't destruction, it was individuation. The process by which a person integrates all parts of themselves, light and dark, conscious and unconscious, until they become whole. It's not an easy journey. It requires the courage to face one's own contradictions, to accept that we are capable of both beauty and cruelty, love and hatred, wisdom and madness. Jung himself endured this confrontation. After breaking from Freud, he descended into a period of profound psychological crisis. Visions, dreams, and inner turmoil that nearly consumed him. Yet it was through this descent that his greatest insights were born. He called it a confrontation with the unconscious. For years, he documented his visions in what became the Red Book, a record of his journey into the abyss of the psyche. From that darkness, he emerged transformed, understanding that true healing begins when we listen to what our pain is trying to tell us. This idea is ancient. In mythology, Prometheus is punished for bringing fire, light, to mankind. He is bound to a rock, and each day an eagle devours his liver, only for it to grow back again. An endless cycle of suffering. Yet that pain was the price of illumination. In Jungian terms, Prometheus is the archetype of consciousness, one who dares to bring awareness to the darkness, even at the cost of his peace. The same pattern repeats across human experience. The wounded healer, the hero's descent, the death before rebirth, all echo this truth. Suffering is the forge through which we are shaped. It's not the enemy of the self, but its maker. Modern psychology echoes this in its own language. When trauma surfaces, when depression speaks, when anxiety claws at us, these are not malfunctions to be silenced. They are the psyche's attempt to restore balance. Pain is not punishment. It is initiation, the beginning of becoming who we really are. But there's a catch. To hear what pain has to say, we must stop running from it. We must dare to sit with it, to let it unravel the stories we've told about who we are. And that's terrifying, because once the mask begins to crumble, so does everything we thought we understood about ourselves. The great tragedy of the modern world is not that people suffer, it's that they suffer without meaning. We numb it, medicate it, scroll it away. We treat pain like a malfunction instead of a message. But when we suppress it, we don't escape it. We only exile ourselves further from our own soul. And so, the question remains, what happens when we stop running from pain? The answer is not comfort, but clarity. Because the moment we stop resisting, the unconscious begins to speak. And what it tells us is both terrifying and liberating, that every wound we've ever carried was never there to destroy us, it was there to bring us home. Somewhere along the timeline of human progress, we made a silent agreement. Pain must be eliminated at all costs. It was the birth of a new kind of religion, not one of gods and temples, but of comfort. The promise was simple. If we could remove every discomfort, every inconvenience, every moment of unease, we would finally be happy. But beneath the glittering architecture of modern life, there's a haunting emptiness. The more we've tried to escape suffering, the more it has shaped us, invisibly, from the shadows. Jung warned that what we repress does not disappear. It returns, disguised. Today, that repression takes digital form, infinite distractions, endless entertainment, and a constant stream of validation. Every click, like, and scroll is a small sedative, a microdose of dopamine numbing the unease we dare not confront. We no longer meditate on pain, we medicate it. The pharmacy has replaced the priest, and the algorithm has replaced the confessional. We speak the language of wellness and self-improvement, but beneath it lies the same fear, that if we stop running, the silence will devour us. The modern world has industrialized escape. We are surrounded by technologies that promise connection, yet amplify isolation. The smartphone, a device that can summon the world to your hand, has become a mirror reflecting our loneliness. Social media, designed to connect billions, now breeds comparison, envy, and despair. We curate happiness like a performance, filtering out our pain until even we start believing the illusion. And yet, the statistics speak a darker truth. Depression rates continue to climb. Anxiety disorders have become epidemic. Suicide, especially among the young, is rising in societies that have more comfort, more convenience, and more luxury than any before them. We have conquered hunger, disease, and distance, but not meaning. In Jungian terms, we've rejected the shadow not just individually, but collectively. Modernity itself has become a persona, a global mask of productivity, optimism, and endless growth. Underneath, the collective unconscious seethes with everything we've refused to face. alienation, emptiness, spiritual exhaustion. This cultural neurosis manifests everywhere. In our obsession with self-optimization, in the cult of productivity that measures human worth in output, in the shallow spirituality that sells enlightenment as a weekend retreat, we chase stimulation the way addicts chase a fix, mistaking intensity for depth and distraction for peace. The irony is painful. In trying to banish suffering, we've created a civilization built on suffering's shadow. Every pleasure now demands a higher dose. Every moment of silence feels unbearable. Every emotion must be categorized, treated, or optimized away. We no longer endure discomfort long enough to understand what it's trying to teach us. We've mistaken anesthesia for healing. The promise of the pursuit of happiness has turned into a tyranny, a pressure to appear happy at all times, no matter the cost. It's a paradox Jung would have recognized. By trying to eliminate suffering, we've made it absolute. Because to feel nothing is not peace, it's death in disguise. Our ancestors faced tragedy, famine, and loss with rituals that gave pain meaning. We, with all our progress, face minor discomforts with panic. The soul has become fragile because it no longer wrestles with the weight of existence. We've traded resilience for relief. Jung saw this coming. He wrote that people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. That warning now echoes across every glowing screen, every dopamine loop, every self-help mantra promising good vibes only. The world no longer suffers consciously, it suffers unconsciously beneath layers of noise and stimulation. And so we drift, a generation with infinite tools for pleasure, yet starving for depth. We are overstimulated but undernourished, connected to everyone, yet alienated from ourselves, surrounded by comfort, yet suffocating in meaninglessness. Perhaps the true pathology of our time is not pain, but the refusal to feel it. Because in numbing our wounds, we've numbed our humanity. In avoiding the shadow, we've become it. And in our desperate flight from suffering, we've lost the very thing that could have set us free, the courage to face it. There comes a moment, quiet, devastating, and absolute, when the running stops, when the distractions lose their power, when the noise no longer silences the ache. It is then that one begins to descend. This descent is not a choice. It is an inevitability, the point where avoidance collapses under its own weight. The mind, long divided, begins to fracture. The illusions that once sustained you, success, identity, love, status, start to crumble. And beneath them, something older, darker, and infinitely more real begins to rise. This is what Jung called the confrontation with the unconscious, the meeting with the shadow. It is not a metaphorical idea, but an existential experience, the recognition that everything you've disowned, rejected, and buried within yourself has been waiting, patiently, relentlessly, for your return. The shadow is not evil. It is simply everything you could not bear to see. The envy you denied, the anger you suppressed, the selfishness you condemned, the weakness you pretended to outgrow. All of it, festering in the dark, shaping your life in ways you could never understand while you were still blind to it. Jung wrote that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. To descend into the abyss is to finally make that darkness conscious. It begins as a psychological unraveling, a loss of certainty, a collapse of meaning. You start to question not just the world, but the person you believed yourself to be. You discover that beneath your ideals and virtues lie motives you never dared to name. The moral self-image you defended so fiercely becomes transparent. You see how much of your goodness was built on fear, conformity, and the desire for approval. And then the pain deepens. Because the shadow does not simply reveal darkness, it reveals truth. The truth of your fragility, the truth of your need for control, the truth of your dependence on others' validation. To confront it is to see yourself without the mask, naked, trembling, and human. This is what mystics and philosophers called the dark night of the soul, a phrase that predates psychology but describes the same process. It is not depression, though it can feel like it. It is not despair, though it may look like it. It is the soul stripping away everything false, demanding that you meet yourself in the raw, unfiltered reality of your being. Jung saw this descent not as pathology, but as initiation. Every great transformation, in myth, religion, or personal life, begins with disintegration. Christ in the desert, Buddha beneath the Bodhi tree, Dante lost in the dark forest. To find heaven, one must first walk through hell. No tree, Jung wrote, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. The descent is the rooting, the stretching of your consciousness into the soil of everything you feared and denied. And while it feels like death, it is in truth the beginning of life. Throughout history, artists, mystics, and thinkers have lived through this collapse and emerged transformed. Van Gogh painted beauty through madness. Dostoevsky found redemption in suffering. Nietzsche, after descending into his own abyss, proclaimed that one must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. Each of them understood, in their own way, that the journey through darkness is not destruction, it is purification. To face your shadow is to reclaim the parts of yourself that hold energy, creativity, and depth. The anger you feared becomes the source of power. The grief you avoided becomes the seed of compassion. The pain you resisted becomes the foundation of wisdom. Every emotion you once ran from transforms when you face it, like lead turning into gold. But this alchemy demands surrender. You cannot reason with the abyss, you must enter it. And in doing so, something extraordinary happens. The ego, that fragile construction of identity and defense, begins to dissolve. You stop clinging to the idea of who you should be and begin to accept who you are. You see that light and darkness are not enemies but reflections of one another, that every virtue is born from vice, every strength from weakness. It is terrifying. It is liberating. It is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole. The descent into the abyss is not an ending. It is a return to the forgotten depths of the soul, to the silence beneath the noise, to the truth that pain was never your enemy. It was your teacher. And only those who dare to walk through their inner darkness can ever truly see the light. Out of the darkness, something begins to stir. Not relief, not joy, but clarity. A quiet realization that suffering was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. This is the ancient art of transformation, the alchemy of suffering. The process by which what once felt unbearable becomes the source of strength, creativity, and wisdom. Jung believed that the medieval alchemists, who spent their lives trying to turn base metals into gold, were never just talking about chemistry. They were describing the psyche. The furnace of transformation was the human soul itself. Every wound, every heartbreak, every failure, these are the raw materials. The lead, heavy, ugly, and seemingly worthless. But within them lies potential, if only one has the courage to endure the heat of transformation. Suffering, when resisted, becomes poison. It festers, it hardens the heart, it turns bitterness into identity. But when embraced consciously, it becomes medicine. The fire that once burned now forges. Nietzsche called this amor fati, the love of one's fate. Not resignation, but reverence. To love even what has hurt you, because it shaped you. To say yes to everything. The chaos, the loss, the humiliation, because each piece was necessary for your becoming. What does not kill me makes me stronger, he wrote, but what he truly meant was deeper. What does not kill you teaches you who you are. Viktor Frankl, imprisoned in Auschwitz, surrounded by suffering beyond imagination, discovered the same truth. When we are no longer able to change a situation, he said, we are challenged to change ourselves. His survival did not come from denial, but from meaning. He realized that even in the darkest moments, one retains the power to choose, to decide how to respond, what to value, and who to be. That choice, he believed, is the essence of freedom. Pain becomes unbearable only when it is meaningless. Give it meaning, and it becomes fuel. This is the alchemical moment, when the victim transforms into the creator. When you stop asking why me and start asking what for. When you no longer see yourself as broken, but as becoming. And in that moment, the energy shifts. The same darkness that once suffocated you becomes a wellspring of insight. The same heartbreak that shattered you now gives birth to compassion. You begin to see others not through judgment, but through understanding, because you have walked through your own fire. Jung called this state the realization of the self, the unification of opposites within us. Light and shadow, joy and sorrow, strength and vulnerability. It is the recognition that peace is not the absence of pain, but the harmony that arises when you no longer run from it. The greatest paradox of the human experience is that suffering, when faced fully, ceases to be suffering. It becomes transformation. Like metal purified in the furnace, the self emerges refined, stripped of illusion, grounded in truth, radiant in its scars. Those who have descended into the abyss and returned do not seek perfection. They seek wholeness. They no longer crave constant happiness, because they understand that happiness without contrast is hollow. What they have found instead is stillness, the quiet strength of someone who has made peace with their own chaos. Pain, once feared, becomes a companion. Not an enemy to be conquered, but a teacher to be listened to. And as the alchemist learns, it is only through the fire that the gold is revealed. The journey ends not in triumph, but in understanding that to live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning, and to transcend is to love it all, even the suffering that shaped you. The journey comes full circle. After descending through pain, after facing the shadow and walking through the fire, one returns, not as who they were, but as who they truly are. This return is not marked by grand triumph or fanfare. It is quiet, grounded, the kind of transformation that doesn't need to announce itself, because it radiates through every action, every silence, every choice. To live consciously in a world built on distraction is no small act. It is rebellion, not through anger, but through awareness. The conscious individual no longer seeks to escape the present moment. They have seen what lies beneath the glittering surface of comfort, the endless loops of consumption, validation, and noise. And they no longer wish to participate in the game. Having faced their own depths, they see the suffering of others not as weakness, but as the human condition itself. Compassion replaces judgment. They no longer rush to fix or avoid discomfort, they hold space for it. This is what Jung called individuation, the integration of all that we are, the light and the dark, the divine and the broken, into a single, unified self. In myth, this stage is known as the return of the hero. After slaying dragons and descending into the underworld, the hero brings back the elixir, not for themselves, but for the world. The wisdom of suffering becomes a gift, a mirror for others to see that meaning is not found in running from life, but in engaging with it fully, consciously, courageously. The world around them has not changed. The noise still hums, the distractions still tempt, the illusions still glitter, but their relationship to it has. Pleasure no longer owns them. Pain no longer defines them. They move through chaos with stillness, like a calm flame in a storm. Solitude becomes sacred, not lonely. Silence becomes nourishment, not emptiness. They discover that peace isn't found in avoiding the world, but in walking through it without losing themselves. The conscious person does not escape society, they navigate it awake. They can smile at its absurdities, mourn its blindness, and still act with integrity, not because they hope to fix the world, but because they refuse to let the world unmake them. To live consciously is to reclaim the forgotten art of feeling, to be alive enough to ache, to wonder, to care, even when it hurts. For numbness is easy, but feeling is divine. And so the journey ends where it began, in the ordinary world. Only now it is seen through new eyes. Every moment becomes sacred, every wound a teacher, every breath a quiet reminder that to live fully is to suffer wisely, and to suffer wisely is to love deeply. In a society obsessed with escaping pain, the conscious person dares to feel it. And in doing so, they discover something far rarer than happiness. They discover peace. There comes a moment when the running stops. When the endless chase, for happiness, for control, for escape, collapses under its own weight. What remains is silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence that follows revelation. In that silence, something becomes clear. Every shadow we've fled from was never the enemy. It was the forgotten half of our own soul, calling us home. Pain, stripped of its fear, reveals itself as a kind of light, not the blinding light of perfection, but the soft glow of understanding. Every heartbreak, every loss, every dark night of the soul has carried within it a secret, the possibility of awakening. Jung wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." And he was right. Pain is not the obstacle to life. It is life insisting that we grow, that we evolve, that we meet ourselves honestly. When you stop running from pain, you discover that suffering was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to open you, to break the illusion that you were ever incomplete, to show you that beneath every wound lies an unbreakable core. The paradox is beautiful. The more you resist life, the harder it becomes. The more you face it, the freer you feel. To live is to suffer. To suffer consciously is to awaken. And so the journey ends, not with answers, but with awareness. Not with perfection, but with peace. Because once you stop running from pain, you no longer fear life. You finally begin to live it.